Let's get ready to rumble! Hey, everybody, I'm Steve Green with Bill Whittle and Scott Ott. I'm not Michael Buffer. This is Right Angle, brought to you by the members of BillWhittle.com. And, gentlemen, there is an ongoing story. We still don't know how this thing is going to end. It was supposed to be the MMA, the mixed martial arts fight of the century, if you can believe this, between two tech titans. In one corner, you've got the 39-year-old father of three, the founder of Facebook, Mark Zuckerberg, weighing in at 155 pounds, and weighing in at 187 pounds or 224 pounds, depending on the time of year. It's the father of 10 and the owner of three giant tech firms, Elon Musk. And I really want to see this fight. I hope this thing happens. You've got Zuckerberg, who's been training hard for years and is scrappy. On the other hand, you've got Musk, who's older, more experienced, and has got a big weight and reach advantages. This should just be a really good fight, right? But they
Definitely has a big weight advantage.
again, it depends on the time of year. Sometimes it's a small weight advantage, and other times it's more. You know, we're people. We all have our things. And the reason this fight hasn't happened is, well, I'm going to blame Zuckerberg on this one. Let me walk you through some of the back and forth on all this. So Musk challenged Zuckerberg to this fight last month, basically to settle their rivalry over Twitter, now called X, versus Threads, which nobody calls anything because nobody's on there, not even around Perlman anymore. And Musk kind of semi-backed out, not really, but he said last week that, listen, I got to have this MRI. I might need minor surgery. We'll get this thing scheduled. But apparently the MRI turned out clear because he went back to re-challenge Musk to this fight, or to Zuckerberg to this fight. And Zuckerberg kind of dismissed him. I'll read this. He says, I think we can all agree Elon isn't serious and it's time to move on. I offered a real date. Elon won't confirm a date, then says he needs surgery. Now he has to do a practice round in my backyard instead. If Elon ever gets serious about a real date and official event, he knows how to reach me. But Musk, this is genius. Apparently they were texting back and forth on this. Musk posted a screenshot of an actual conversation that he had with Zuckerberg. And he said, I will be in Palo Alto on Monday. This is yesterday, as we record this on Tuesday of this week. I have not been practicing much apart from a brief bout with Lex Fridman today, who's apparently a big-time trainer. While I think it is very unlikely given our size difference, perhaps you are a modern-day Bruce Lee and will somehow win. So Musk is coming into this, look, I'll fight you anytime, anywhere. Let's just get this done. And Zuckerberg is all like, we need an official thing and all that prep work. So I think Zuckerberg is the weasel on this one. Bill, given what you've heard here and given what you know about these two men, what do you think about this fight? Is it going to happen? And who's the weasel?
Well, I hope it doesn't happen because I have extremely high regard for Elon Musk. I think he's very important, and I think that Elon Musk would lose this fight.
Yeah.
Here's how I think it would go, assuming they're wearing boxing gloves. You'd immediately get into the initial blows and so on, and in the space of the first few minutes of the first round, Elon would be able to punch away the fake outer skin layer around Zuckerberg's head, but then he'd run into the scales and the reptile horns and
yes.
These things have the hides of a dinosaur, man. That's not the kind of thing. Plus you gotta think about it too. I mean, just the structure of Zuckerberg's head and that lack of blinking is telling me that his reptilian brain is firmly anchored in an extraordinarily thick, skull of super dense bone. I just don't think you can kill something like that. I think Zuckerberg's the kind of guy you could just knock right smack in the face with just again and again and again, just knock him to the ground and he'd get up and he'd look at you with the exact same look he looked at you with at the beginning of the fight, And so I just don't think Elon should risk it. Now, Musk being, Musk, it's possible he's developed some kind of jet assist for his, for his. I seem to remember somewhere somebody saying that, I don't know, maybe this was science fiction or something, some kind of brass knuckles thing or something, or just at the right moment you punch something and a sort of blast of CO2 or something comes out and really knocks you on your can. But I wouldn't fight a reptile. I wouldn't do it. Because first of all, they have no blood pressure. You can just keep knocking them down. They don't really bleed. Here's the secret, Steve. Here's what you do. If Musk's going to fight Zuckerberg, you don't do it in Palo Alto. You need to do it someplace
cold. Slow him down.
Like
yes.
Alaska.
Yeah.
Yes. Get the outside temperature to the point where Zuckerberg is no longer able to generate enough energy to be able to essentially move, and then you can have your way with him. You curb stomp him in a case like that.
In between rounds, he's laying
but
on a hot
for God's sakes, don't do it outside.
Sun.
Don't do it outside. Don't let him sit out in the sun for 3 hours prior to the fight.
Musk
that would be a gigantic
fight by training with this very famous mixed martial arts trainer, and Zuckerberg prepares for the fight by sitting on a hot rock in the sun for 3 hours. I think I've got that right. So I got deep in the weeds with this story on Monday. Apparently, Musk had spent some time on the phone with Italy's Minister of Culture or Minister of Tourism, because he wanted to have the fight in the Colosseum in Rome, the original Colosseum. And he was promising you will see nothing modern in the frame of this fight. It's just going to be, two gladiators duking it out like they used to. Are you not entertained? And which, by the way, Musk could totally pull that off. And he and Russell Crowe, they both have some weight issues. I think it'll be a lot of fun. But what really got me is on Monday, Musk was saying he was going to test the full self-driving mode of his personal Tesla to take him to Zuckerberg's house in Palo Alto. And he was going to show up, knock on his door, and challenge him to a fight right then and there. And apparently Zuckerberg has an octagon, an MMA octagon, in his house or on the property somewhere. And again, I'm not making any of this up. And that it would also be a test of Twitter, X, I'm always going to call it Twitter, of Twitter's new streaming software, that all of this, the drive, the knock on the door, the fight, if any, that would all be live cast on Twitter. And that was, as we're taping this, about 24 hours ago, and it was the last thing Musk tweeted. So I don't know if his full self-driving Tesla got lost in Palo Alto and he's, out in Portola Valley somewhere now, going, hello, knocking on the wrong doors. Scott?
He could rebrand Meta if this thing happens. He could change it back to Elon Musk smashed in my Facebook.
Scott, when this live stream hits, if this live stream hits, do you think it's going to be the biggest viral sensation in internet history?
I think, I don't remember how big this was on the internet, but it's going to be at least as big as Hamilton Burr. I think that this is the kind of contest we're looking for here. I think that I agree with Bill that I think you need to work out some sort of point system handicapping to account for Zuckerberg's exoskeleton. I think that there should be some, like you can give points because of the difficulty. I think also, even though Elon Musk looks, to me anyway, appears to be in frat boy fit, like he looks like he's been to a few beer parties. You can't rule out some sort of secret Musk foo that we don't know anything about. He basically taught himself rocketry, overnight.
I hope he had yours is the superior Musk foo.
He'll be up there on stage, kind of like in his quirky way going, all of a sudden he'll go, I know Kung Fu. I think if he'll miss an opportunity if he doesn't somehow embed in his boxing glove one of those brain chips that he's developing, if he can just nail Zuckerberg with that, I think he takes control of Facebook overnight, because that will be implanted in Zuckerberg's head. By the way, genius idea, putting in self-driving mode to go to Zuckerberg's house, because then you arrive rested and ready. And he will be, he can nap all the way to Zuckerberg's house. I think this is really fun showmanship. And the thing that it reminds me of most is actually not Hamilton versus Burr, but my grandfather's solution. My grandfather, who had fought in World War II, and his brother fought in Korea, and so he had a lot of kind of intimate connection with what it's like to be at war, said in the future all wars should be settled by putting the leaders of the combatant countries in a room together and letting them duke it out, and whoever emerges is in charge. And I think that's the way you settle the whole social media wars, too.
Oh, yeah, please.
But real quick, Steve, you know how on when you look at a video on YouTube, at the scroll bar, there'll be like these little peaks and valleys, and then it's like this one is like the most rewound, most viewed kind of thing. I predict that if this thing does happen, the most viewed section will be before the actual fight starts, because that's probably when they're warming up, and Musk will go like this, and then Zuckerberg will just and it'll go all the way around. All the way around. And then people will be like, I didn't just see that, did I?
Well, Bill and Scott have already
Deep
had
fake.
more fun with this story, if we can call it that, than I ever could have hoped. So I'll just finish with this one brief, quick thought.
He doesn't have bones. He has cartilage, man. You can't beat a guy like that. I'm telling you.
That carapace. It's not going to happen. So let me just leave you this one final thought, if you can call it that. As it turns out, two of the richest men in the world who control some of the most very basic means through which people communicate with each other can be just as petty and impulsive as the rest of us, and I'm not sure if that's comforting or the stuff of nightmares. Well, give that some thought. All right, that is unfortunately your right angle on that, brought to you by the members of BillWhittle.com. Thank you so much for watching, and I hope to see the live stream before next week.